Hey viewers, welcome to VL Astrology once again, and I welcome you all to my channel. And today I have Nāthan on my channel. Hi Nāthan, how are you? You can show
Hi,
yourself.
Vanita.
Hi,
Good to
and
be
we are
here.
celebrating 8 years of our association on YouTube, and I think we know each other since last 5 years or more, maybe
Yes, I think so. Online, and then
approximately.
we met in person a couple of years ago. Yeah,
Yeah, that was I think 3 years back.
three
Yeah.
years ago. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so
Wow.
much for making time and celebrating my 8 years on my channel. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So Nāthan will introduce himself, and I want to know what are you going to be talking about. I'm really excited because the kind of knowledge that you have, I'm really thrilled and excited to hear you out.
Well, it's actually a very simple topic. I've been trained both in Western astrology, traditional Western astrology, Arabic, Persian, and Hellenistic astrology, and most recently, after several years studying with Pandit Sanjay Rath and Srimati Sarabani Rath, in the PJC course they've done there. So, what I'm talking about today is the Sun Ketu conjunction that is happening. That happened actually last week, right?
Wow,
I think
nice.
Wednesday evening it was in India time. And it's something that people don't really, because everyone talks about Sun, Rahu, and all these other, scary things. So I wanted to talk a bit about some different angle on that spectrum, the Sun Ketu conjunction that is happening. Yeah.
I'm excited to hear. I'm really excited. I'm sure my audience is also excited to hear about Sun Ketu conjunction in the sky right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you'll be sharing the slides
Yes.
with us.
Yes. Should
Okay,
I should I
great.
start with that?
Okay, great, great.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Um, okay. Let me start the slideshow. Hopefully it shows okay for you.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly, Nāthan.
Okay.
Fine.
All
Yeah.
right. So, like I said, talking about now this conjunction happens every year, right? So it's nothing that is like a once in a lifetime event or something. But in the sign of Leo in which it is happening, that is not so often the case, right? It's once every 12 years. And we're going to talk about why that is a bit special and why we maybe should consider this a little bit more than usual. This is normally a transit that people, like I said, don't really pay attention to. But I think it's important whenever, anytime Ketu is transiting anywhere, we all tend to focus on Rahu all the time. But Ketu, in typical Ketu fashion, it slips behind and you don't really pay attention to it. So I wanted to go into that a little bit. Um, I wanted to start with a Shanti prayer and also this prayer to the Rishis because, we are in the Pitri Paksha now and really the Pitri is at the source, is the Rishis. We have all come from the Rishis and we all have the Pitri Rina, we all have the Rishi Rina we need to pay. And so I also just wanted to start with that. Om Tacchanyora Vrinīmahe Gatum Yajñāya Gatum Yajñapataye Devi Swastirastu Nः Swastirmanushebyah Urdhvam Jigatu Beshajam Shanno Astu Dvipade Sanchatushpade Om Shanti 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 Om Rishaya Suktavanto Me Santi Vishve Rishaya Sadhamade Yagne Atra Ye Deveshu Dadhire Manusheshu Te no Vantu Rishaya Sapratasan. Thank you. Oh, for those who are listening and not watching, it means, may all the rishis possessing inspired hymns be present for me. May the rishis be with us in this joint assembly of yajna, those who have taken their place among the gods and among men. May those far-famed and vastly competent rishis protect us. So starting off, we said that this conjunction is happening in Leo. So you'll wonder why I have Cancer Rashi highlighted on the chart. So we want to talk about that a little bit, because whenever we look at Ketu, Ketu is Viparitam, right? Ketu is reversals. So from the sun, right, I want to see what is behind the sun. That is one way of looking at it, okay? Another way of looking at it is, Jaimini Maharishi, we have learned when, he has a sutra that says that basically when the sun and Ketu conjunction, or sun and Ketu energy come together, Shiva Bhakti is indicated. Now, we need to look at this a little bit more deeper. When we talk about Shiva, there are two rashis that really we observe in the months of the year. When the sun is in Karka Rashi, Shravana Masa is very important for Shiva. And also in Kumbha, that is where the Mahashivaratri happens, right? So we're going to focus on Karka Rashi as the gate of Shiva. We are all starting in the Lagna, right? And in the moon fashion, the lunar energy is very important in the Shaivite tradition, right? The nighttime, the moon, right? So we are starting from the Lagna. We are all starting life there. And we, in a retrograde fashion, we go back, to the 10th house, then the 7th house, and we finish up in the 4th house. So this retrograde way of looking at and the journey back to Karka Rashi, where life started, right? Life started always in the oceans. Life started in the womb of the mother. We're going back to that. We're going back home. We are returning back to divinity. We're returning back to where we came from. So this Shiva journey, this one gate of that Shiva journey is Karka Rashi. And Karka Rashi, as you know, is the domain of the mother of Gauri, of Parvati. Okay, so it's the natural fourth house, which has to do about security, which has to do about shelter, which has to do about protection. Okay, these are all blessings of the mother. If we have a house, a roof over our head, we have security, we have protections. These are all blessings of the mother. And so this Karka Rashi is the domain of the mother. It gives us that stability so that we can get Aishwaryam. We can hold on to Aishwaryam in our life, right? That is one of the opulences of Karka Rashi given by Sri Krishna in the Gita. So the doorway to Shiva is this. Obviously, this is through the Karka Rashi path. The Shravana Masa is important for this path. And so before that, in the retrograde fashion, the 5th house comes before the 4th house. So in the doorway is Sun and Ketu. And we know that we have this story. Sun is Shiva, Ketu is Ganesha. We know that how Ganesha was made. Parvati was in her private chambers in Karka Rashi. She was taking a bath and she put Ganesha to guard the door. Right? And Shiva came and then there was a whole situation that happened and Ganesha lost his head and his head got replaced and all that happened. Right? So when Jaimini Maharishi is saying the conjunction, I won't say the sutra, but when the conjunction of Sun and Ketu are coming together, Shiva Bhakti, we can understand what the process in one interpretation we can say, right. So when we are standing there against Shiva, then we are losing our head. But when we embrace Shiva, then we get a new head. We get a new understanding in our life. And, there's many ways of looking at that. So Shiva Bhakti is when you are, first and foremost, you need to lose that head. An outdated way of thinking about your life and of yourself. yourself compared to the higher self, and the higher self compared to the cosmic self, right? The Shiva itself. So we can look at that, this combination. What happened with Ganesha, we are all going through in some way in the Sun-Ketu conjunction, which is you are either in the process of losing the head or you're in the process of getting the new one. And all of us will be experiencing this in different ways right now, where our thinking, our way of understanding something is not seeming to connect, right? And so people are wondering what is happening, my decision making, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this really what am, who I am, right? So Shiva Bhakti in that way also means that you are having self-inquiry. And so the Sun-Ketu conjunction is forcing that, right? You can't just distract yourself anymore with the external gaze of the sun. The external drishti, the outgoing consciousness is becoming blocked. That Ketu inward gaze is forcing you to come inside and to look upon itself, right? And of course, we know that is the basis for Vedanta and all of those sort of things, right? So in that way, what happened with Ganesha is that there was a renewal, there was a rebirth, okay? There wasn't really a death, there was just a renewal that happened. And if you think about it, when we talk about Ketu, we must also talk about nakshatras, because Ketu and the moon have a special connection in that way, right? So all the Ketu nakshatras have to do about the important things about our creation. Mula nakshatra, that is the Adana nakshatra, isn't it? Right? The root. Okay? Ashwini nakshatra, that is how we are, that is about birth, that is the prayana nakshatra, right? From where we are emerging, into this world. Like the Lagna is where we have emerged into the world. From the Adana, we have emerged into the Lagna and appeared over here, right? And Ashwinis were also the children of Surya. Okay, so that concept of birth and creation is also linked there with the sun. And then, of course, you have Magha Nakshatra, the throne, and that's the domain of the Pitris. So why should my throne be ruled by the Pitris, right? Shouldn't it be under my control? So the question here, well, the throne here, there's something to achieve in life that is not about you. It's about what you're linked to in terms of the whole stream of the fathers. The will of the mains, the will of the ancestors or the rishis, that there's something more to manifest in your life because you have to do A, B, and C as the will of, as part of that connection stream in the lineage. That is why you are such and such a person and have such and such opportunities, right? So the Vedic understanding of creation is a continuity of what came before. And so if we come to a point in our life where we are struggling to understand what we must do, who we are, is it really the same thing? Do I need to change, etc.? Yes. Then what will help us to reroute ourselves is to, like we're doing now in Shraddha, I mean in the Pitra Paksha here, is to recognize the influence of the mains, to recognize the guidance of the rishis in our thinking and in our ways of life, and to honor that in what we do and who we are becoming. Because the fifth house is also the future. It's also very creative in its energy. So you see the linkage of creation and creating. And in the Sun Ketu yoga, we are talking about this in the context of a total renewal of the self. If we look at, so the concept of renewal is something that is important here as being pushed or impelled upon us. And in terms of numbers, if we think about the sun as number 1, and if we think about Ketu as that 0 factor, right? That emptiness, right? That wipes things out. But when they come together, 1 plus 0 is still equal to 1. It hasn't changed. However, in mathematics, there's also something called category theory or type theory. And in that system of understanding, know that one has changed. That one, before zero was added to it, is different from the one that comes after. Because something has happened to that one. It's still one in terms of its value. The value is the same. The structure is the same. The order is the same. The existence is the same. But it is also not the same. And what has changed in it, you cannot see. You cannot observe. But it has changed. So it's the same value, but a totally different form. Just like the soul, sun is the Nesargika Atmakaraka. Just like the soul, as Jiva, as Atma, as Paramatma, the value is the same. The existence factor is the same, but the form is totally being set free of the bondage of the Jiva. So when we look at it from that point of view, the Sun Ketu Yoga is conceptually linking us to this concept of, if we look at Sun as the Nesargika Atmakaraka, and as a representative of actually all the Charakarakas, right? The whole concept of the soul in its different bindings. And we look at Ketu as Moksha Karaka. Ketu is the only one that doesn't have Charakatva status, isn't it? He's the only one. So what we are having here happen is this whole concept of identity, of the self, of the swa, is coming under the influence of this moksha influence of Ketu, to be set free of something in order to evolve to the next step, to the next stage. So the Sun Ketu Yoga is a great call to change and to embrace evolution. That means that if you want to move forward, then you can't remain who you are. You can't keep doing the same things you were doing. You can't be what you thought you were being all this time. If you want to move forward, if you want to be set free in that way and outgrow that fish tank and go into the ocean, then the fish has to embrace a bigger life. So from Jiva, the sun as Ravi, right? With the soul with all of its bindings, okay? That power of tapasya of Ketu, we are having the impulse of Jivana Mukta there. Okay. And we know that Rudra is important as a concept also. We learn in some sense that Ketu is also like a Rudra. Rudra is important and is responsible for the governing of the 8 directions of our karma, which are the 8 charakarakas. But here, interestingly enough, we also have Ketu as a Rudra that is setting you free in that way. So Rudra is arranging the bindings, and Rudra is also releasing from those bindings. So we say, Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. To embrace that, right? We need to let go in order to gain something. And if you think about it, the sun as Ravi, right, is, especially in the sign of Leo, is also connected to this concept of Indra, right? The Aditya of Leo is Indra or Sakra, right? And you know, Indra, who is his biggest problem? It is himself all the time. Like in the Dig Chakra and the Kala Chakra, the sun is its own block. In the same way, that direction of life, what to do, what karma to do, what is the right time to do things. The sun is its own block, and sometimes it can't get out of that entrapment, self-created problem, right? But Ketu Maharaj helps us to break that. And so it is helping in that sense. If I then take it further, and what are these grahas doing? What a graha has to do is the office of the graha, right? The job of the graha, the mula trikona of the graha. The mula trikona of Sun is Leo, the natural 5th house. The mula trikona of Ketu is Pisces, the natural 12th house. Now, what is important about these two houses, 5th house and 12th house? They are both maraka for the 11th house. 11th house, in one sense, is the Aya Bhava, is the Labhasthana, right? So when these come together, you can understand why their desires have to come down. That sense of wanting more and more and more has to come down. Freedom from the natural badak, which is Aquarius, for everyone. So we say Shiva Bhakti. Naturally is happening because whatever you're thinking, you're gaining and wanting, it is being reduced, it is being blocked. Because the focus has to be on the self and its renewal, right? And 5th house is mantra. 12th house is dhyana, meditation. And if we talk about these two coming together, it's a very powerful way of removing that badak of the 11th house that we all suffer from. That is actually an entrapment of the soul, right? So when we come to these together, you'll see in the Shiva Mahapurana, as I've learned from my Guruji, japa and dhyana on pranava, on Om, gives you Shiva Rupa and joy with Shiva. So it's a very beautiful way these things have come together here. Why pranava? Because sun is one, right? Sun is bija. Sun is one. The eka akshara is Om, is pranava. So 5th house mantra, 12th house dhyana of this is in alignment with Shiva. It is Shiva Bhakti. So this is the sutra, the verse from the Shiva Mahapurana, right? The great yogin who, having engaged in practice of japa and dhyana, japa dhyana samanvitam, steadily on Shiva as the very essential nature of pranava, pranava atmakam evam. He indeed becomes the very form of Shiva and rejoices with Shiva. When Sun and Ketu come together, Shiva Bhakti. So
Amazing.
we looking at these concepts, and again, this is just my initial understanding of it. Now I want to talk about what do you do about it, okay? Because that's what everybody's here to listen about, right? All the theory and all that made for people who are interested in Vedic understanding and things, right? That was there in the beginning, finished. But what's happening in Leo, before I come to this slide actually also, you see, I'll talk about that. Sun in Leo is strong, right? It's in its own sign. Ketu in Leo is also strong. It has Ayush exaltation in Leo, according to what I have learned from my gurus. How can we understand this? If Sun is the Svakshetra Rashi of Leo, is the Svakshetra Rashi of the Sun, and it is also Mula Trikona of the Sun, that is like the soul. Where it is sitting in the body, it also has to do work there. It is Svak, the soul is Svakshetra. What is the Svakshetra? It is here, all these bodies, the koshas, right? But it is also Mula Trikona, it has to do. It has to go and achieve something, right? In the same place. So it, like in the Gita, there's a chapter called the field and the knower of the field. The one who knows both is the soul, is the Atma. And Ketu has Ayusha exaltation in Leo. When we talk about that, hey, the soul is always free. The soul is not bound. It is the Jivana Mukta concept. It is everlasting. It is always alive. It is not dying, right? So he who knows, the Jivana Mukta is the one who knows the soul never dies. And that is the strength of Shiva, the one who is aligned in that way. We can also interpret that the Ayusha exaltation of the Ketu with the sun also means that, hey, this change and renewal that has to happen with yourself is also important for your health and well-being. Why? Because if the soul is not happy, the body is not going to be healthy. The soul is happy, the body is healthy. It is maintained well. Because once the soul is tired and is too heavy with all this karmic load, it will drop the body and move on to some other body, right? So these are all related concepts, I think, to this way of looking at this conjunction. So then come into the practical elements, right? Now we need to see which one is strong. Firstly, we have to see how strong is Ketu compared to Rahu. Right? That's always a drama going on between the two of them. Okay, but I'll leave that part of this equation aside for now. And just focus on Sun and Ketu. If they are both strong, now this is of course going to be in your chart, right? Right? If there is such a yoga in your chart, right? In whichever way you want to think about yoga, okay? You know, Jyotish, there's so many ways to look at something. So however you want to look at them being strong, also that's another thing. There's so many ways of talking about being strong and being weak, right? So however you want to do that in your chart, we can understand it according to these guidelines. If they are both strong, then the self is strong and it's coming to a strong sense of detachment as well. So that means there's a willingness, there's a recognition in the self deep down that, hey, I need to get myself free of something. I need to change the way I'm doing things, the way I am, the way I'm thinking about things, and take on willingly some austerity, some compromise in order to move on to the next step. So it's a very strong inner leadership that can happen. The impulse is very strong there for inner leadership to happen. So that's what we're facing with right now, because they're both strong in Leo. Okay. Then if the sun is strong and Ketu is weak, right? Then the sense of self is dominating over the inner impulse, right? So the person cannot understand why they're not connecting to things outside. I am a strong person, I'm doing everything right, everything I'm in control of. Why is nothing connecting? So it can lead to confusion, right? Or self-doubt, or even an inflated sense of themselves if they're not recognizing what is happening. If they keep pushing and pushing and controlling with the misuse of self-knowledge or any other kind of knowledge. They can also be grandiose, right? They can be inflated, right? Self-improvement is fine. They want to improve, but they're still clinging to personal power. So it's a stuck situation in that way. If the sun is weak and Ketu is strong, then the sense of self can be wiped out. And the world is overcoming who they are. The circumstances they are in, they can feel directionless, they have poor vitality, they can't rise up to the challenge of what they need to do. And that's an uncertainty because you are connecting to things, but you don't have the energy to connect very well. So material life can suffer and the person can feel disconnected, and they really need a guru. Okay? They really need good advice from good people. We can also think about this as that from the past life, some strong tapasya is coming to bear upon their life right now. That fire, that Agni is coming to bear into their material life. And it can make them feel disconnected, they can feel aloof, they can feel very exclusive, right? Not wanting to connect, not feeling like they want to connect to anybody. They can be apathetic about everything, okay? But if they both are weak, which is the last situation, then the weak sense of self, and then there's blocks that appear from nowhere also that they can't understand at the same time. So here's apathy about everything in general, lack of purpose that is being reinforced by external things not working out. So they can have chronic low energy. The tamas is getting high, and they don't have a drive to really, even if circumstances outside are not encouraging, circumstances inside are not encouraging, there's no inspiration inside also coming, right? And so they can be disinterested and also dismissive in the negative about things. So in these ways, all right, this conjunction can happen in these different shades. So year by year, it will be different, right, based upon the Rashi. In this year, it is in Leo, so the first line is applying, which we could argue is the easiest one to deal with out of all of them, right? But both being strong means that there's a lot of pressure, that performance anxiety, the pressure internally to arise, to awaken, to make that shift of who you are and what you're doing is very strong, right? And if you in your birth chart, you have a strong sun, you're going to have some resistance there to deal with because you're not used to doing that. Okay. So like this, it is something that we all are going to have to deal with. But for this year, the focus is on what are you willingly going to give up in order to move forward? That's the big question. And it's going to take that sense of personal leadership to do that and embrace that fully and wholeheartedly. And if the sun has sattva support, especially from Guru, okay, then ready guidance is going to be available. So you can convert all this Agni and all of that into something meaningful, okay? And if it is affecting the Arudha Lagna, then obviously your public image is going through a shift as well, okay? I mean, that's just very basic. And the last thing I want to say is, this is a big slide, but in all the houses, there's something, maybe a different aspect of it to consider. I don't know if I want to read the slide, or people can refer to the slide, Vanita, up to you, depending on the time available.
Yeah, you can go through
Yeah,
it.
okay.
You can go through
So
it. Sure.
I like to look at things in terms of the trikornas. Dharma, Artha, the Purushartha are very important as a foundational concept in the Vedic literature, okay? The four aims of life. And we know, obviously, we have four kendras. In Bhuloka, there's only the four kendras. Through those four kendras, everything is coming to us. All the other, from the first house, the fifth house, and ninth house is coming, emerging. From the 10th house, the second house, and sixth house is emerging. Okay? That Mooladhara, the four petals of the Mooladhara, again, where Ganesha is governing and protecting us. Okay? So I like to use that as a basis for understanding just the energy and the impulse of it. So in the first house, if this is happening in the first house, now I must say, people look at transits from the moon normally, and they also look at from Lagna. From the moon is going to tell you the area of life, circumstances of life, the environment in your life where this is happening. But the house, the bhava from the Lagna, will tell you what are the particular decisions that you're going to have to face in that environment. Okay? That you need to think about carefully and understand very well. Okay? So that's how I would differentiate them. So first house, you may be feeling confident and dignified and all that, and so-called secure, but you need to check about authenticity. If you're not being authentic, you need to check if this, the way you are, who you are, what you think, your preferences, your strengths, your weaknesses, all these are Lagna significations. How are they changing? How are they supporting you going forward? Okay. Is it supporting growth of the intelligence, or is it just keeping you happily where you are? In the fifth house, you should release children and also yourself from each other's expectations. And your creative work, because fifth house is also things you can create, right? Your personal Rajya. For this is important, people like you, Vanita, creators and content creators and all that, right? So-called influencers, the Leo Rashi energy, right? So your creative work may be good, but can go unrecognized. it may not be serving you in the way that you've been doing it. We need to reevaluate, we need to change. Do I want to appear and show up there differently? Right? All the things I've created, right? I need to free myself from them and to create new things, right? So there are new projects, new personal projects that may be coming up, things like that. In the ninth house, the faith in yourself, the faith in the ninth house, faith, threefold faith people talk about. Faith in the scriptures and the words of the rishis, faith in yourself and faith in God, or Ishvara. So these are being tested there because the ninth house is setting your whole perspective on life. It is the dharma, right, that controls whether what you do is good or not for you in terms of your evolution. So it's time in the ninth house when the Sun Ketu Yoga is there to leave aside all the theories and to start being very practical, to adopt new ideals that are actually relevant to your dharma and to start living them, right? And to allow your whole perspective on life to shift. That may be harsh because anytime Guru is coming into the picture, truth is not always nice to face, but truth is what sets us free. In that respect, Guru and Ketu are aligned. Okay, then Artha Trikona, this is one everyone is worried about, right, all the time in this Kali Yuga. So in the second house, money is there, but it must be kept wisely because that Indra energy will have, oh, I must do this and oh, I must do that, right? And you need to curb it, right? You must keep it wisely. Check that dhanam must be preserved, not just wasted on personal projects and personal aims. Check that your values and your family's values are aligning as well for harmony in the home. Sixth house, due to being very reliable, your workload is going to increase. So because you're very strong, you're competent there, you're getting more and more to do. Okay, so make sure you have activities in your day to de-stress properly and fully, and also don't absorb the chaos and disorder around you. Okay. In the 10th house, while you may have authority and control, the direction may be unclear where you're going with all this authority and control. God only knows. What results you're getting from all that authority and control, God only knows, right? You might not also know, right? What is the point of having authority if you don't know where you're going, right? With that, what is the point of authority if you don't know what you're getting? Not just for yourself, 10th house is also for everyone, the whole world, for others. So in that way also, the authority figures in your life can be demanding because they don't know why they're doing what they're doing. And everyone is suffering from that chaos because it's a shared thing, right? No one is confronting the issue. So they're passing it down to the people below them, right? In typical Surya fashion, Ravi fashion. So your purpose will settle when you commit to service and not selfishness. Oh no, they're not listening to me. They didn't recognize my authority. Who cares? Ketu is with the sun, right? The Indra is shaking, okay? And it must. How else will he then realize he must go to Brihaspati all the time, right? So if you use your authority in service, then it will be strong for you coming out of this. Now come to the Karma Trikona. Artha and karma is what people always seem to worry about. So third house, okay? Casual talk can be draining and pointless. It may seem like that. Well, you have to talk to people. You have to communicate. You have to be busy up and doing, right? There's a lot of little things to take care of in that third house kind of way. That urja, that sort of drive to do things, right? There's pressure to performance pressure, right? Do digital detox and ensure that your communication is helpful and adds value. In the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives a very nice verse about vak tapasya, austerity of speech. And he gives 4 things there that encompass that tapasya of speech. So that will be something good to look into. In the 7th house, relationships and partnerships, so personal relationship, business partnerships, can feel especially intense. So even the good ones seem to be more demanding because it's getting karmically tied together very strongly. But there's pressure on identity in that. What are we doing together? Can we do it in a different way? Should it be something else, right? So be proactive to maintain those connections with good communication while not being pushy. See, you have to allow each other to change. It doesn't mean you have to put a wall between you and that person. You just need a little bit of a break to shift yourself and then rejoin again. In the 11th house, your network is going to change because who you are is changing. It can change, it can shift, it and fall apart. Your friends are suddenly, are these really my friends? Are these the people I want to be moving around with? Okay. Adopting a minimalist approach to your desires, that Labha concept is going to be good, and also to your social life. Maybe you want to withdraw a little bit. It doesn't mean become a recluse, it just means withdraw a little bit. Okay, because the tendency is to distract yourself with even more engagements that are not actually meaning anything anymore. Okay. In the 4th house, you may feel restless at home. You may ignore your health issues that come up. Okay. Take them for granted. Try to live up to the image you have of stability. In the 4th house, when this is happening, you have an idea of what stability in life means. So does everyone else you live with. Doesn't have to be family, it can be people you're living with as well. Okay, it can be your neighbors around you. 4th house is also bandhu, people you're very close to. Okay, reaffirm those connections, strengthen the good in those things. Okay, because your role in that must be important. Now, Surya doesn't like 4th house so much because he likes 10th house. Right? What am I doing at home? I have to do some work all the time, right? But 4th house Surya is important for that security of life, the foundation. If you have a role in the 4th house, recognize that you're playing some fundamental role in the family, right? And that should be strengthened for others, not just for you. In the 8th house, obviously, sudden changes and emergencies, putting it lightly, right, can disrupt our own goals because 8th house and Lagna don't arise at the same time. When one is rising, the other one is setting all the time. So 8th house will teach Lagna to not consider itself first. 8th house will teach the Lagna to consider other people first. Now, it can feel all the time, other people all the time are interrupting what I want to do. That's typical Lagna complaining about the 8th house, right? But the key here is to understand how even that is actually helping you go forward in your life, right? Sometimes we go forward in life because of what we do with other people and what other people need more than what we can think up for ourselves, right? And that's this 8th house thing. Obviously, you need to have contingency funds and contingency time to be able to deal with that and not feel like you're being blocked and held back and all those other thoughts that people have. Okay. And then finally, the 12th house. So here is really a strong need for solitude. Okay. And for retreat and the quality of sleep, quality of intimacy, if you're married, things like that. Sharing the guna is very important here. So meditation in the morning, bhajan or kirtan in the evening will help to restore the balance. And I think that's it. Oh, yes. And then the period in effect is from middle of June to middle of December. And there's a turning point in middle of September, 8th to the 12th of September, which is where we have just come out of, right? So it's good that we're doing this talk at this time because you can look back in the last 5 days and see, wow, did I do that thing that I needed to do? Am I on board with this shift or not? It's a checkpoint, okay? Because how this checkpoint time is happening determines the next couple of months to middle of December, if you're going to be suffering more or you're going to be slowly coming out of it and gaining traction into the new way of things for yourself, okay? There's some simple remedies people can do to offer Arghya to Surya in the mornings on Tuesdays for the Agni, the agitated Agni, to calm down. Obviously, Gayatri mantra at that time is going to be important. Okay. Again, good timing. for Pitru Paksha to offer the ritualistic oblations to the ancestors, right? And do Deva Yajna for the rishis, to study what they've given us, yeah? Appreciate all that they've given us. Not just Jyotish knowledge, Ayurvedas, I mean, so all the Indic knowledge systems have their root in rishis and nobody else. So start and end the daytime with meditation on the soul with pranava, like we said, right? And worship Ganesha, because the thinking needs to shift. In order to get new life and new birth, new seed, the thinking should shift. But that also means with the power of Ganesha, you can create new things in your life as well, right? The power to invent, the power to see beyond what you're currently in and who you currently are. Ganesha can really help with that. And these can help you a lot at this time. Simple remedies, I find, work very well because we are in Kali Yuga, and simple remedies is what we can do in general. And I think that's now the end of the slides. Thank you very much. Hari Om.
Nāthan, it was a wonderful, wonderful presentation and wonderful insights. I'm yet to, process everything. I really like the concept that you said that every house, from every house, second house is the Maraka from every house. And from the 11th house, 12th is the Maraka, and so is the 5th. And so in point, because, whatever is happening in the world, since this has happened, this conjunction has happened, and the tight conjunction, especially as you rightly mentioned, it happened on the at 24 degrees on the 11th, just 2 days back. It was at 24 degrees or 24 degrees, both were together in the Leo sign. So how you put it and how you connected it with the 4th house energy being the place where Parvati ji was, bathing, and she just, made out of her body, I will not say dirt. It was just that she made Ganesha. And it was beautifully put that Ketu is Ganesha, and how Rudra energy and how Shiv energy, you put it through. It was wonderful. And I really, liked the mantra and the dhyana, the 5th house, because it's the mantra siddhi. It's the Purva Punya. And if you have planets like Ketu, or I would say Sun in the 5th house, or Venus, as a matter of fact, or Jupiter, people actually, I have seen, they get inclined to mantra siddhi automatically, because it's from the past lives they've brought that. And Ketu in the 9th house is also, we say sevak. Ketu is the sevak of Brihaspati. So when it is the fiery trine, whenever Ketu goes to Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, he is becoming a Brihaspati's sevak. So I don't see anything wrong with this conjunction. It's just that it is a very charged conjunction. It's a very, very, very highly activated conjunction. As you really put it, it is Shiva energy after all. It has to be. Shiva is very, he's at times, he's in that meditative mode, or at times he's in the Rudra form. So two extremes.
Two extremes. You can be against it, or you can align with it.
Yeah. And
very
so beautifully put, I must tell. It is really, really beautiful put. I'm really, in that. I wanted you to just go on and on and on, and as it is the spiritual angle, whenever is attached to all this, I get more,
we all,
more
as Jyotishis, it's all about finding the light in what we are doing. And so I find, and this is perhaps how my teachers have taught also, is that you start with the rishis, start with the root. When the root is right, then you won't go wrong. and you'll be guided actually in how you're interpreting the whole thing, the essence of it, And look, we all heard that story about Ganesha, right? And we thought, oh, what a violent thing that happened, right? But that's what it is like, right? For the ego, it feels like that. For the ahankara that is standing there and thinking it is the
So
one
true.
guarding security in life, actually, no, the soul is in charge. And the whole life is a conversation between dharma and the lagna, right? Who you going to listen to? And so like that in different ways. But yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this transit, actually, I wanted to add here, we are not having any solar eclipse in this zone, because solar eclipse will be when sun will be in the Aquarius sign next year. Okay. So that is when, the dates I just wanted to mention, because, people would like to know that, in the next year, we do have lunar eclipse on the 3rd of March in Aquarius Leo axis. And solar eclipse would be in Aquarius, and that is on the 17th of Feb. And then solar total will be in Cancer sign. Okay. When both sun and moon will be in Cancer sign, and it is because of the degrees, as that it is going to be when in the orb of 12 to 15 degrees that apart, then the eclipse take place. So lunar partial will be next year in the August month, I think. Yeah, 28th August-ish, it will be somewhere around that, which will be when again sun will be in the Leo sign. As you know, in August, September, sun remains in Leo. And that is when, we will have a lunar partial eclipse again in the zone. So when again sun and Ketu will be together, degree wise, they will be, of course, at like not
Different.
the same degrees as to this one. So that also matters. I just wanted to add here why, because it is going to be even more powerful, because sun exalts at 10 degrees, and I think it'll be somewhere around 10 degrees when this is going to happen. This conjunction is going to be happening, though it is in Leo sign, but it is in trine to the fiery energy of Aries and Leo and Sagittarius. So again, it will be more powerful as compared to this year's conjunction, because it was at 24 degrees when this conjunction happened this year, and that too in Purva Falguni. And if we go by the next year conjunction, which will be somewhere around this time, so it will be somewhere around 10 degrees, I think.
In the Ketu nakshatras, yeah?
Not 10 degrees. I think sun will be at 10 and Ketu will be somewhere around, I think, 5 or 6 degrees next year.
I mean, the nakshatras will be the Ketu nakshatras.
Yeah, that is what is the main thing, both will be in Magha. That is more important. So that is why I say that as compared to this year, because it's Venus's nakshatra, it's not that powerful. So maybe, we meet next year to discuss the same thing about the conjunction, but in a different light, because then it will be Magha nakshatra. So from today itself, I'm telling you, Nāthan, be prepared that the moment sun ingresses in Leo next year, we are going to be meeting before that, or we can commit our audience that we are going to be doing that video for sure, that what happens now with the same slides. I want you to be ready. And with the flavor of Magha energy, of course.
Yeah, we maybe in that one talk more about the nakshatra element, which we didn't do.
Yes. Yeah, we can discuss about the nakshatras, because Purva Falguni energy is also going to be, it is not a very it is not that very mellowing energy also, Venus's nakshatras are also very, very volatile nakshatras, I would say. So when sun, all this is happening, natal, is burning.
Yeah. So in the Venus nakshatras, what are you bringing to the table? So that's why I mentioned things like creativity blocks and the performance anxiety, and how you're showing up is important, because it's all about your value in society, right? Shukra nakshatras. So
Shukra nakshatras, yes. That's true.
Mhm.
So, yes, so eclipse energy that we are heading to on the 21st. So worship Lord Shiva, as you rightly mentioned, isn't it?
Would Om, would meditate on Om and
Om, yes.
Om, you know. So, yeah. If maybe I should close with the Shanti
And
mantra
simply just,
also.
you know, I feel that when you are talking about Ketu and Sun conjunction, so you know the best is Ganesha. You know, worship Lord Ganesha, I always say. And you know, if you want to be more charitable, that's what I can say.
Mhm.
Worship Lord Ganesha, but be more charitable
Yeah,
in and around eclipses time, especially
the selfless energy is important.
selfless energy. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Okay.
So thank you so much,
Mhm.
Nathan, for
Yeah, I think I should close with the Shanti mantra that we
yes,
did,
please, please,
and then
please.
we can
Thank you.
close.
Thank you. Yeah.
Om Tacchanyora Gatum Yajnaya Gatum Yajnapataye Devi Swastirastu Naha Swastirmanushabhyaha Urdhvam Jigatu Beshajam Shanno Astu Dvipade Shan Chatushpade Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Gurubhyo Namah Harihi Om. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And see you soon,
All the best.
sometimes
Yeah.
really soon.
Yeah.
I hope my audience enjoyed. I'm sure they must have enjoyed this session. Thank you so much for making time, Nathan.
Wish you 8
Om
more
Tat Sat.
years, Vanita. Thank you. Hari
Thank
Om.
you. Hari Om.